Okay, good morning, everyone. Welcome to another very inciting and educative session. Most times I look forward to Saturdays like this because even when I'm not a student, I am still a student. Because as long as you're alive, you're still learning. My name is Salome Isaiah, and I'm the Administrative and Program Manager for JuCE Africa. I welcome you all to this session. The students in the house, I can see Aniesa, I can see Felix, I can see Khadijat. As usual, I will, okay, it's obvious my screen is not, let me reshare again. It's good to have you all here. Please do well to invite your friends, tell them to join in, tell them to be part of this very, very, very interesting session. It's another time to be one step to clarity of purpose. I want someone to confirm if you can see my screen. Okay. Yes. So before we go ahead today, I want you to know that every time you spend here is worth it. You cannot just take out few hours of your time and not get something in return. That is why we here at JuCE, we are very, very, very passionate about the time you spend and the value for the time that you have spent here. So, welcome everyone for joining in. Please, if you're a student, ensure that you introduce yourself in the chat box, your name, your school, and your class. For parents, you can also introduce yourself, and we would recognize you as we progress. I can see that Aniesa, yes, I've mentioned, is on the screen. So others on the call, I'm seeing a zillion M. I don't know, you can introduce yourself. You can introduce yourself and every other person on the call. Thank you for joining in. And before we proceed, we'd like to talk about JuCE. And one of the most frequently asked questions is, what do you want to be or when you grow up? This question is something that a lot of people have heard and are still hearing. You know, even we as adults sometimes want to say, want to be like you when we grow, because there's something fascinating about that person. And sarcastically, we just say, I want to be like you when we grow up. But indeed, this is one frequently asked question. What do you want to be when you grow up? Everybody may not have it figured out at a particular time. Everyone, you may want to become this mini because there's something that you have seen that interests you, that fascinates you, or maybe the times, the environment you find yourself, or the people around you, you know, the things that you see, the things that you hear, the things that you learn, or the things that you have come to know over time. It may shape your decision to say, oh, this is what I want to be when I grow up. But as you grow, as you evolve, things changes. And maybe you may now have a new passion or a new direction. And what you want to become in the last 5 years becomes different from what you want to become now. But one thing I will always say is, when you are informed, when you have the right information, it helps you bring about clarity. Even if it changes with time, you are not off track, you are not lost. It's still a way of getting more clarity on what you want to become. That is why we here at JuCE, we are very passionate about ensuring that the Nigerian child's career path is intentionally thought through, developed, and chosen. We are building a world where the future is with purpose, it's built with purpose, it is built with clarity, it is built with intentionality. And that's why most of the programs that we do here are targeted programs that will help in building the Nigerian child, helping the child make informed decisions, helping the child become more clear about what he or she wants to do. We cannot overemphasize on this because we have noticed there are lots of deficits, but we have highlighted three major deficits that we have noticed, and that is why there is JuCE. That's why we have JuCE. And one is the career exposure deficit. A lot of people do not have that career exposure. They jump into careers blindly or not well informed. And that is why we have our JuCE programs where we talk about different career options. We bring young professionals to come and speak, to come and tell you about their journey, how they navigated through to where they are today, some of the challenges they face and how they overcame it. All these are pointed towards you becoming more informed so that you don't even make some of the mistakes that were made. You have more information about what you do and you use it in navigating through your own career path. We also have the career mentorship deficit. A lot of people do not have mentors. Oh, people they look up to, people that can guide them, people they can shadow and learn from in their areas of interest, in careers that they want to explore with time. So that is why we here at JuCE, we are very intentional, and that's why we have the career mentorship program where we pair mentees to mentors in their areas of interest. Where they can shadow, where they can learn, where they can ask questions. But one thing that is very important about this mentorship program is you have to come prepared. The mentors may not have all the answers. The mentors may not have all the time. So you have to do the work. You have to prepare yourself that these hours I'm spending with my mentor, what do I intend to achieve? And you don't go there and expecting the mentor to lead. You should be the one prying. You should be the one asking questions, getting more information that you need. It's very important to also know that university preparation program is another important aspect in career development. How early do you prepare for the university? How early do you prepare for the future? How early do you have the information that you need to even move to the next phase? That's why we have the university preparation program where we talk about a lot of things. 2 weeks ago, we talked about beyond JAM. How do you prepare for success in the Nigerian university? Because of course, it's not everyone that will study abroad. You may have your first degree in Nigeria and go abroad to proceed in studying your master's or PhD, but not everybody may be at the BSc level will study abroad. So it's also pertinent that we get even those that would have their university degree or their first degree in Nigeria prepared for the university. So you don't also stumble blindly or say, oh, I studied what JAM gave me or JAM jammed me. All those kind of funny slangs that we use here in Nigeria. So that's why we have these programs to guide you, to expose you, to mentor you. And it's good that you ensure that you pay attention, you listen, you ask questions. And if you need further clarity, you can always reach out to us and we'll do our best to provide answers to your questions. One important aspect in this is how do you come in? You being present here today is another way of coming in by attending our program every 2 weeks. Yes. The same link, just tune in every 2 weeks at the same time, 11 a.m., and you are logged down for our interesting, educative, and informative section. You can also become a member. We have parents on the call who can become a member. How do you become a member? Supporting our vision, supporting what we do, referring us to areas you think that we can come in, areas you think that would be of an assistance or can add value to what we do. You can become a sponsor. You can become a mentor. Yes, we talk about the mentor-mentee session. You can volunteer to become a mentor, to mentor these young children and make them better off and make them well prepared and make them well informed even as they go through their career journey. You can become a sponsor. So we have so many plans in the pipeline. All these things will be achieved through finance, through funding, through collaboration, partnership. So if you are interested in sponsoring what we do, our activities, our programs, do well to reach out to us. You can become a career partner. Yes, we have a lot of topics we need to talk about. We have a lot of things we need to do. We need young professionals in those fields to be able to drive home what we intend to achieve. So if you want to become a career partner, feel free to reach out. And one of the most important thing I want to talk about is telling others about JuCE. We cannot overemphasize on this. You need to tell someone about JuCE, tell a child about JuCE, tell a student about JuCE, tell a parent about JuCE, because all this, the child, the school, the principals, everyone is pivotal in the career path of a Nigerian child. So tell others about JuCE today. Tell them about what we do. Connect them to our social media handles, especially teenagers. Let them come and learn about what we do. Let them come and even get the right information that they need to navigate through. Tell them about the topics that we have. We have our social media handles. You can like, share, comment, follow us on our social media handles, and also connect others to us. Let us reach a broader audience. We want to be known across Nigeria and not just some states. That is our vision, so that we ensure that the Nigerian child's career path is intentionally built with clarity and purpose. That is our strong word here at JuCE. So I want you to know that you are welcome to this session, and without wasting much of your time, we are going to hand over to our keynote speaker. She's one interesting person you will want to be. I will leave her to introduce herself, but her name is Jin John. I'm sure that you've seen it on our flyer. So I will hand over to Jin John to introduce herself and walk us through on a very important topic today, which is 10 skills that will shape your future. 10 skills. There are more skills, but these 10 skills will shape your future if you have them. So listen to Jane John as she walks us through in the next few hours. Sit tight, get your writing materials ready, remove every form of distraction and listen attentively. Note down your questions, because we'll also have question and answer sections where you would ask your question and get response. And if in course of she speaking, there is a question or there are some questions you would like to ask, ensure you drop it in the comment box. We will read it out and you will get your answers. So without wasting much of your time, I'm going to hand over to Jin John to take over. Welcome, Jin John.
Valerie. And hello everyone. Good morning. Just for my own verification, everyone can hear me loud and clear.
Yes, we can hear
Just give
you.
me fantastic.
So I'm going to stop
Okay,
sharing my screen now. Yeah.
that's fine. Yes, and I will attempt to share my screen. Uh, share. Mm, I'm so sorry. Let's try that again. Yes. Share this window. Please let me know when you can see my screen. Okay. Oh, sorry. I was so happy to see it come up, but then now it has disappeared. Technology has a way of really testing you and reminding you that, well, reminding you of a lot of things. Okay, so I think you can see my screen. Salome, can you confirm? Yes. Okay, fantastic. Good. Um, oh, thank you all for the thumbs up. Oh, I love seeing emojis, trust me. Um, I was going to start. I know Salima said, well, first of all, thank you for having me here. I am excited to spend the next 30 minutes with you talking about a very important topic. And I know Salima said that I would introduce myself, but aside my name, Jean, I didn't want to dwell a lot on myself because it's less about me and hopefully more about what we can learn together today. So for that reason, I just want to go straight into it. And I'm hoping that this will resonate with you and you'll have, if you have any questions, please, like Salome said, please put it in the chat. So I can't see everyone, which I was hoping I would be able to see, but with just in a quick show of hands, who here has a TikTok account? You can give me a thumbs up or say yes or no in the chat. Salome, do we have any answers? Oh, Anissa said yes. Okay, good. All right. And so I want to assume that not just Anissa has a TikTok account. So how many of you have spent more than an hour on TikTok this week? Just more than an hour. Don't worry, I won't ask you for how many hours you actually spent. Just a good more than an hour. Okay. I assume you're all laughing because you know where you have an idea where I'm going. Okay, good. So you have a TikTok account and you've probably spent more than an hour on TikTok this week alone. Now, did you think that there was TikTok in 2012? Do you think TikTok was here in 2012? No, thank you, Felix. No, there wasn't. In fact, the platform didn't exist in 2012. The best thing after sliced bread as of 2012 was Instagram. And even then, it was still very new and novel, and we weren't quite sure what to do with it. In the same way, the job title that you might see today of like TikTok strategies didn't exist. But here's what existed: storytelling, the ability to read an audience, knowing how to present an idea so that people can stop and take notes, or in today's parlance, so that people can stop scrolling. These skills that I just mentioned, they existed. And they're actually very ancient. In the words of Beauty and the Beast, they are a tale as old as time. So, and they are the same ones that will get you hired, promoted, paid attention to, or even taken seriously in whatever world that we're heading into. For anybody that likes maths or economics, I have a fun stats for you, a fun data point for you. In 1960, right around the time Nigeria was gaining her independence, the skill that you learned at 20 years old will last you for your entire career, like your entire. So think about from when you start working at 20 to when you retire at 60. That's 40 years. And one skill that you learn at that time would last you the entire lifetime of your career. However, today, the life cycle of a skill is barely 5 years. What that means is that something that you're learning right now might be outdated or a little bit obsolete in 5 years' time. So if you were 15 now, so by the time you're 20, what you're learning would have changed or just become old news by the time you're 20. That is the world we're living in. In fact, a very popular organization called the World Economic Forum estimates that 65% of students like you sitting in classrooms today will work in jobs that do not exist yet. So the question you might be feeling at this moment is, how do you prepare for a future or for a job where the rules haven't yet been written? So, well, I can just say that I would say stop trying to find the right answers and start trying to build the right systems. And so today I will attempt to give you a view of what that system should look like. So 10 skills. I will be talking about 10 skills organized into 3 pillars. It would not be theory. It would be mainly just practical things that you even would recognize and know and may have used in the past. And I also hope to give you some, I wouldn't say homework, but a little ideas of things you can start doing even from next week. Okay? Uh, so to my original question, to navigate a world that does not exist, you need 3 things. And like I said, I've grouped my 10 skills into 3 key pillars. Every skill on my screen right now lives in one of the 3 pillars I'll talk more about. Think about them as the 3 key things that any successful person, irrespective of where they are in life, has in common. So the top that I've shown is, you can see the top is time management, resilience, and growth mindset. I call this your inner compass because this talks about how to manage your mind, your time, and your energy. And I will go more into it as when I move on. The second pillar, which is the middle blocks of Lego, I call that the human bridge. So this talks about how you navigate between you and other people. And the skills in this pool or in this pillar is things like adaptive communication, conflict resolution, argumentation. I'm sure you may have not expected to hear arguments here. And the last one is emotional intelligence. And the last pillar, or the bottom of the block, is what I call the digital edge. And this speaks to how you and I would use tools that exist in the world today to multiply the impact that you and I have. And the skills that I put in this pillar are critical thinking. So critical thinking is about being able to assess reality, to identify what is real, what is not, what is factual. AI fluency, we're going to talk a little bit about AI towards the end, and then data storytelling, which is, I think, growing in importance in today's very highly data driven world. Oh, finally, I can see my screen. Okay. So the one thing I want you to go out with today is that the future doesn't need people who just know things. You can know a lot of things. You can, yeah, you can know a lot of things. But the future needs people who can think for themselves, who can work well with others, and actually then use the tools that exist that are available to them to create impact. That's it. That's the whole game. That's the thing that I'm currently doing. That is the thing that your parents were doing. And that's the thing that their parents before them have been doing as well. And you're going to do it, but just in a different environment. Okay. So with that said, let's start with the foundation, or what I call the first pillar. What does it actually mean to manage yourself? So, are we all with me still? Yeah? I'm gonna take that as a yes. Okay. So I learned managing myself the hard way, a very hard way. I remember being at university, like my very first month at university. Now, mind you, I went to a boarding school during my secondary school years. So I don't know if there are any boarders in the house. Do you have any boarders? Okay, so I went to a boarding school, and for anybody, for anybody in secondary school, even primary school, you realize very quickly that your life and your time is planned. So what do I mean by that? I mean, your parents wake you up in the morning. They tell you, okay, now it's time for you to get dressed to get to school. Now it's time for breakfast. Now it's time for you to travel to school or walk to school. Oh, thank you forehand for indicating that you're a boarder. Yeah, so your parents tell you all, like, they determine what you do with your time. And then when you get into secondary school, particularly the boarders, even day students, in school, you have the bells that indicate what what period you should be in. Is it the first or the second or third period? What class you should be going to? The bells would tell me when school was over, when I needed to go to the boarding area, when I needed to go for lunch, when I needed to go for extracurricular, where I needed to even sleep. So like your time and your life was determined by external factors outside of you. It was other people determining what you do. But when you get to university, um, things change radically, and you don't really notice it until you actually get there. Because while in secondary school, you are simply obeying time. Like every time is allocated, so you're obeying time. And that's why we all loved free period, because free period was that time when you didn't have to do anything in particular. You just did whatever you wanted. But when you get to university, at least when I did, um, there were no bells. There was no structure. It was just me, my timetable, which told me, oh, you need to be here at what time. And suddenly I just had complete utter freedom. I could sleep longer. I could take my time. I could stroll. No, but no prefect was chasing me. No house mistress or teacher was punishing me for being late. So while I was always punctual in secondary school, in university, it took a lot more work for me to be punctual because there was no more structure. So where I'm going with my story is I remember one particular morning, I had an economics lecture at 10 o'clock. And this was a very important class because the assignment groups that were going to determine what groups you were going to work in were going to be assigned that day. And you needed to be present in order to be assigned a group. So, but at that time, I didn't know as much as I do about prioritization and stuff. So I woke up with no clear priority. I just knew I had class that day. So I took my time, had my breakfast, talked, meandered, gisted, all of that. And then I get to the lecture hall and I find out that I can't get in because not only am I late, but this lecturer or this teacher has shut the doors. Now, honestly, when I stood in the corridor, I was very annoyed, but I wasn't annoyed at myself. I was annoyed at him. I was like, why are you shutting the door? Like, why? Who does that? All of that, all those feelings. Because to me, I felt like it was his fault. But when I calmed down, I thought about it. I realized that I had made a series of small choices that day that led me to where I was. And by prioritizing my chilled morning and my slow morning and gisting with my friends, there was an opportunity cost that I was now getting in form of being locked outside of my class. So, so I don't know how many people study economics. Again, you remember that in opportunity in economics we call it opportunity cost because every choice of something that you make, there is an alternative thing that you could have gone for that you didn't go for it. And so I learned that very clearly in that moment. And here's what I took from it. Resilience is not just about just bouncing back from big failures. It's also about it's also about catching the small things that you do that build up to the big things, right? So you may have had your whole life to work hard, and that's true. That's absolutely 100% great advice. That is true. But it's also incomplete because working hard on the wrong things does not yield the results that you want. And frankly, it can be very exhausting. Take it from me. So, a better way to look at life is not to be asking yourself, am I working hard? But am I working hard on the right thing? Because that will make the whole difference in your life. Like I could have prioritized my classes that day as opposed to prioritizing again just and the likes of it. So I want to introduce you to a concept called the 80/20 rule. So it the thing about the 80/20 rule, it says that a small number of things usually create the most of the results in your life. So think about it like when you are in school, your grades, like the actual grades that you get, they will come from the homework that you're given, the classwork that you're given, the examination or test that you're given. And so, in order to drive the scores that you get, there are usually a few things that would matter to you. Things like doing the actual assignment, studying the key methods or practicing the exam questions that typically come up. And if you like you could focus on that and do a lot of other things. Of course, there's sleep, there's leisure, there's play, there's watching TV, there's playing games. But do you notice that the other things are a lot of things, but those other things don't contribute to your grade? It is this few 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 things that contributes to your grades. So the 80/20 rule is a way of is a framework for you to focus your energy on the 20 things that have the biggest 20%, or the 20 things that have the biggest impact in your life. And for you in school, it's usually revolving around school. And that's where you need to remember to prioritize what is the important things to you. If you're in school because you want to study, you want to get good grades, you want to understand, you want to build your creativity, your critical thinking. Those are the most important things to you. So everything that you do, the way you focus your energy should be pushed towards the things that would have the biggest impact on that area of your life, right? So one takeaway in this area is every night this week or every day this week, before you put your phone down or before you go into bed, write out 3 things, not a to-do list, not 15 things, not a long, lengthy to-do list. No, just 3 simple things that will move your life forward or move yourself forward, and focus on those things every day. I personally have on the back of my board, I have 3 things for next week, because I know that if I focus on those 3 things, every other thing is just noise, and I will be able to get the outcome that I actually want. Okay? So I hope someone in the room is going to be willing to try that today. Just write 3 things on a note and focus on it the next day. Okay? All right. Was all still with me, right? Okay. All right. So thank you. Once you can lead yourself, you are ready to you're ready for the skill that most people, adults included, find the hardest, which is building or interacting with humans, building the real bridges with other people, interacting with other people. And I know that you are all living in an AI driven world where it feels like, oh, AI is here and it's taking over. But the thing about our world is being human is all right. So I was saying that in today's AI world, it's easy to look down on your humanity and feel like, oh, AI will come and replace you. But no, being human is your superpower. Your human skills are the ways that you then get differentiated from other people and from machine, right? In my second pillar earlier, I talked about I mentioned 4 key skills. The skills were adaptive communication, conflict resolution, argumentation, and emotional intelligence. And I feel like it's important for me to mention here that as a teenager, I absolutely hated conflict. I hated fights, as we called it. I hated arguments because it just felt like once an argument came up, somebody was trying to destroy you. I don't know if anybody feels that way. Like with arguments with your classmates or with your friends, I always felt like someone was trying to make me look foolish. The goal in most argument that I noticed when I was younger was that somebody was trying to win. Someone was trying to be the smarter person, and then whoever loses is the dumb one. And with me feeling that way, I as a teenager, I started avoiding conflict a lot. Actually avoided conflict, and I actually avoided even having arguments because I felt like, nah, I'm going to be ripped apart and stuff like that. But then I realized that my avoidance was costing me something very real. It was costing me my voice. It was costing me my opinions, being able to share my opinions with others. It was costing me, in some ways, like the issue would then escalate. It would become a bigger issue than it should have been. Sometimes it would even cost me opportunities, right? And so I had to reframe how I saw arguments and conflicts because they are not bad. They are not battles. Arguments are not they are not something that you need to destroy like a Wreck-It Ralph. No. But it's something that you need to approach, to understand, and to fix, because usually at the center of arguments is just a misunderstanding. People have different views, people have different perspectives. As you grow older, you will see more and more and more of that. And that's why I'm emphasizing this second pillar. In 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 conflicts, you need to, no, not you need to, but I recommend that you stop trying to win the conflicts. Stop trying to come out triumphant. Instead of trying to win the conflict or win the argument, focus on the person. Try and understand where they are coming from, what it is that they're talking about, and how can this situation um become a win-win for both of you. So the thing most people get wrong about conflict is that they think you want to win, like you want to win it, you want to prove right, you want to be proved right, or you want the other person to be proved stupid or foolish. But that's not the better way to look at it. And that's why I've said in communication you have to think about, okay, who am I talking about? Who am I talking to? What is the important thing to them today? Like, in when you talk to people, or rather, before I say that, when a lot of a lot of you probably have social media and probably have different social media. You probably have Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and the few people that have TikTok. One of the things you will notice is that the way you write on TikTok is not the way you write or communicate on Instagram. In TikTok, sorry, in Twitter, it may be more texty, short text, but in Instagram, you probably want it to be more visual. So whether it's videos or pictures or a carousel or a grid, oh, and then when it gets to TikTok, it's even short videos. It's catchy, it's hooky, and all of that. You are already doing adaptive communication in how you interact on social media, and even how you interact with friends, and even how you interact with your parents. You change depending on who you're talking to. But I'm just trying to help you become aware that that is a key skill as you finish secondary school, as you get into university, as you get into the workplace, because you will meet different people, you will be in different circumstances and different situations, and you need to adapt. I've already touched on conflict resolution, and I hope that I've been able to emphasize that conflict is not the issue. In life, you will meet different people, different perspectives, but you need to reframe how you see conflict. The goal is not to pulverize the other person or to show them how wrong and how foolish they are, but it's to drive a shared understanding, to see what are they saying, what are you saying, how can we meet ourselves in the middle. The last skill in this bucket is emotional intelligence. And this is a very tricky one because it's a very big word. But emotional intelligence is simply being able to read other people, read the room, read the space, being able to understand where they're coming from and what matters to them, what being able to see or being able to understand what is said and what is also not being said in a space. And it's not, I understand it's not a very easy skill, but it's something that you can develop over time by reflecting, by thinking, by asking questions, by actively listening to people and observing people when you're engaging with them. So, so yeah, fun. Mm, all right, yes. So I'm just looking at the question in the chat. Salome, do you want to read that out for me, please? Sorry. Chat. Okay, what are some practical ways students can engage in argumentation? E.g., do they have to join a debate club, or can they practice to get, or how can they practice to get better with conflicts? Thank you very much for that question. So, I would say a debate club is a good way to begin to understand how to put together an argument that is not personal, but an argument that is just based on logic and reasoning. So it is a good place to start. Thank you for that, for pointing out. So you can, but I also recognize that not everyone is probably, I mean, not everybody might have a debate club. Not everybody might be comfortable to, again, go debating and all of that. Aside that, I would say in conflict, it's when you have a conflict, when you see that this is disintegrating into an issue, I think my advice would take a pause, think about what the person is saying, try to understand what the other person has said that is correct, because it's not everything that the person has said that is inherently wrong. So I would say that there is a framework, I think it's called pause and reframe. So reframe the situation. Is the argument just for argument's sake, or is there some truth in what they're saying, in what is being said? Try and help the other person see that you understand their perspective, because the one thing that escalates conflict the more is when people feel like they're not being heard or seen. So in conflict, when you are in that moment, pause and try and see the sense or the right thing, or the right thing that they have said. And also remember that not everything that not you don't have to agree with everything that people say. It's okay to understand what they are saying, know why they're saying it, but not necessarily agree with it or accept it as your own view. The goal of the conversation is to create a shared understanding. It's not necessary to fully bring the other person to your own side. Um, yeah, that's what I would say. All right.
Thank you. Sorry, Jane, if I could just add something to
Sure.
that
Yeah. I,
because
I paused.
I
Yeah,
wanted
because
to
yeah.
make it quite practical for the kids.
Yeah,
And
sure.
I'm really happy that there are some parents here because one thing I keep saying at JuCE is, and Salome mentioned it at the beginning, we cannot do it without the parents, right? So from that perspective of argumentation, I remember when I was a kid, what my dad would do is to pick up a newspaper and he would make me read a story or something, and he'll say, "Oh yeah, future son, future lawyer, tell me what are your thoughts?" And I would read it, and because it's in a relaxed environment, my dad and I were very close, so I could then like easily like just share my points, share my thoughts. And then sometimes my dad would do the thing of like just debating with me to debate with me, right? I'm disagreeing. So he might make like a completely ludicrous
Ludicrous.
submission,
Okay.
and he would see me get riled up, and
Riled up.
you know, and that's part of the argumentation.
Yes.
A huge part of that skill is hearing something so deeply foolish and still being able to marshal your points without getting overly
Yes.
emotional. The minute you start to show
Yes.
emotions, especially if you then
Yes.
argue with people who want to rile you up, even in real life, in the corporate world, as you enter university, even when you are looking for jobs, if someone knows that they can control your emotions by saying something, they are going to be doing it all the time. So a
True.
small part of it as a parent or as a young person, you know, maybe read something, go to a friend you actually like, you know, and tell that person. You don't even have to make it like, let me practice my skill of argumentation. Just tell that person, what are your thoughts on this, man? You know, and that person will say their own, and you're like, yeah, but what about this part? And in economics, you know, they call it game theory. You try to see if both of you can actually get to that point where you're like, you know what, I agree with you on this part, and this is my points that make sense, if that makes sense. So it's also
It
like a
does.
small practical way for
Yeah.
kids and their parents to practice. Yeah, so
Practice.
sorry to
Yes.
interrupt you.
No, it's fine. I really like the your summation, and I think it was a very good story to buttress the points. Um, uh, I had an activity, but I don't think we have time. But it was going to be between parents and children about a child asking their parents to like presenting their view as to why maybe they needed an increased pocket money and presenting a well organized arguments for why they need increased pocket money or maybe they need an increased curfew. But I'm just going to put it out there. So if anybody wants to practice with their mom or dad much later, you have a good topic that you can explore. But again, thank you, Ada, for that. Okay, so to close out this section, I just need to remind you that in the world that we live in, AI cannot feel empathy and build trust. So your human skills, these things about adapting your communication, being able to read a room, being able to um, resolve a conflict, being able to have conversations, argue things out, are what will set you apart because that they are fundamentally human skills and they are your high income or high earning or high future skills. Again, on conflict resolution, arguments are about navigating different perspectives, as Ada illustrated with her dad. It's not about winning. So if you want a simple framework that you can use when you're trying to navigate it, is try to validate what the person is saying and then pivot to your perspective. In doing so, by validating them, you're building a bit of rapport. You're helping them see that I understand what you're saying, but at the same time, while I understand what you're saying, I also have this other view in this topic. Um, an actionable tip. I know I didn't do this for the first pillar, but an actionable tip for everyone in the house is, as you go through your week or even go through your weekend or your day next week, practice active listening. Try to go through a conversation without planning your response. A lot of time, and I'm saying this because a lot of times we are in our head. We want to have a response, and it also shows up even when you're having arguments. We're not listening to the other person. We're not actively listening to them. We're listening to respond. And I think it's very important to just listen to people to understand it, understand where they're coming from, what they're saying, without planning a response in your head. So this is something you can try with your friends, with your parents. Yeah. Okay. Our final pillar of the day, which is an interesting one, is the digital pillar. So this is where I'm talking a bit about AI and technology. So uh, like I already asked in the very beginning, a lot of us are using some form of, I wouldn't say AI, but some platforms from, yeah, platforms and AI. Oh, I'm actually curious. Does anybody in this room, any child or parent, use AI in some shape or form? Because that would kind of frame the next thing I'm about to say. So when I say use AI, do you use it to research when you're on Google? Do you use the Google Gemini AI when you're researching? Do you use it when you're doing assignments? Oh, thank you, Zillion. Do you do it when you're researching, when you're building, I don't know, reports or doing an assignment? Okay. So I'm Salome. Okay, thank you. I'm going to go off of the fact that we are using AI. Great. So I want to start by clearing something up because I hear it a lot and I also even felt it a lot. AI, people say AI is going to take our jobs, but as outland as it sounds a bit true, but it's not the complete picture. So let me attempt to give you a more accurate view of it. People who know how to use AI well are going to take the jobs of those who do not. I'm going to say it again. people who know how to use AI well are going to take the jobs of those who do not. So you are not competing with the AI, with the machine, because the machine is a tool. You are competing with other humans in the next seat with you who have figured out how to use the machine better than you. So take, for instance, a very simplistic view. If you and your brother had a bicycle, and one of you knows how to ride a bicycle and the other person doesn't know, the reality is that the person who knows how to ride will always ride the bicycle, and they can go far, they can have experiences, they can ride with their friends, and they have all those, experiences. But you, not knowing the tool, not knowing how to use it, you then don't get those experiences. I know it's a very simplistic view, but that is how I want to reframe how you see AI. AI is a tool, it is a machine, and it's a tool. So, so as I already asked, most of you already use some form of AI tool, whether it's ChatGPT or Google or Copilot. And most times when I've checked how people use it, most people use it to get answers. Oh, what is XYZ? What are 3 countries I can go to over the summer? Sorry, that's a terrible example. No. What are 3 subjects I should do if I want to study XYZ? Usually the idea is that the AI just gives you a first draft. It helps you fill in a blank. And in some cases, it actually helps you skip a step. And that is all well and good. But that is still very consumer level. Here's something I want you to try for those that actually do use AI. Instead of asking AI to write your assignments for you, so write my assignment on, let's say, photosynthesis and how it works, ask AI or tell AI, here is my view or my argument. What is wrong with it? What would someone who disagrees say? So instead of asking AI for give me ideas for my assignment, maybe you were given an assignment in class and they told you, oh, explore different things. Instead of asking the AI, just give me ideas for my assignment. Tell the AI that here are my 3 ideas, rank them, tell me their weaknesses, and suggest what I might be missing. The difference in what I've just illustrated is that one attempts to let the AI do all the work, all the critical thinking work, and the other attempts to use AI as a sharpening tool to sharpen your critical thinking. So the people that and let me tell you for free that the students that start doing this or start behaving this way, where they use AI to sharpen their thinking and sharpen their outputs, they are building a skill that most adults don't have yet. Most adults are still trying to build that skill because for us it's new, it's a bit foreign. You have the advantage of learning it from now to use AI to sharpen your skill. So use AI to challenge yourself. Use not just to give you answers or give you quick answers. And that's what I mean by shifting from a consumer of technology to a commander of it. Okay. Under this pillar, I was going to talk about 3 key skills. The first was critical thinking. Now, there's no amount of technology that can replace your ability to think critically for yourself. We live in a world where AI generates AI can generate very convincing sounding articles, a realistic image, and even fake videos. You all know about the deep fakes. And if you can't tell the difference between what is real and what is fabricated, it then means that you as a human can easily be manipulated. So as part of using your critical thinking, it requires you to ask, who made this? What do they want me to believe? What is the evidence? What is missing? This is not about being cynical or reluctant to use AI. It's about applying yourself to assess the world around you. And that is essentially what critical thinking is. It is you being able to assess the world, assess reality, and make up your own mind. And whether in 1960 critical thinking was important, in 2000 critical thinking is still important, in 2100 it will still be important. You will always need to be able to think critically, to make assessments of the world, and to decide what is right, what is wrong, what is real, what is fake. The second thing is data storytelling. Now, I put this here because initially I wanted to talk about Excel, but again, this is just about that. When I talk about Excel, it's just about a tool. The actual skill underneath the tool is being able to use numbers, interpret numbers, and use those interpretations to impact the world. Now, numbers on their own they don't persuade. They don't say much, but stories do. Let me give you a scenario. So if two students applied for an internship, and both of them wanted to present data about youth unemployment, student A just shows you a chart that says 50% of students are unemployed. And then student B says youth unemployment rise by an average of, youth unemployment rises by an average of 3% in every major recession. And we are currently heading into one. That means that roughly 200,000 young people in this country alone will lose opportunities that they can't recover easily from. And here's what your company can do about it. Same numbers, completely different story or completely different presentation. And that is the power of storytelling. It's being able to take a number and connect it to other things and help someone else see your connection. Numbers can give you authority, but stories will give you impact. It will help you influence people. I saw a question in the chat. I just want to pause here. Where is the chat? There we go. Okay. When there is so much pressure from students, from school, parents, and social media, what is one practical way we can start to figure out what our own compass is actually telling us? Okay. Thank you for that question. Very good one. Let me close out this section and then I'll come back to this, Salome. Okay, thank you. All right. Just to drive home what I've been talking about in terms of AI and technology and digital age, I want you to think for yourself for a moment. What is one thing about you that you think that AI cannot replicate? To give you some ideas, it could be your creativity, it could be your empathy, it could be your leadership skills, it could be your kindness, my love for food. Yep. Yes, I do not think AI can replicate that in any shape or form. I know, absolutely 100%. Yes. Mhm. Mhm. Any other person want to share? Okay, no, it's fine. The purpose of the exercise is just for you to, I brought it up just so that you can realize that there's so much different, not so much difference, that there's so much of you that cannot be replaced by AI. And the way the world is going, we still need our human skills. And that is fine. And that is 100% fine. So So where does all of this leave us? Let me attempt to bring it together. Okay. So we started earlier with a question: how do you train for a future where the rules haven't yet been written? Yeah. So here is my attempt at answering that question. First, you build your inner compass. And I know Salima had a question about that, so that you can, but I'm coming to that, so that you can lead yourself where there is no map. Your inner compass is what will keep you grounded. It is what will keep you sane. So Salome's question about, so how do you build with the pressure on parents, on school, and everything? How do you build your inner compass? It's honestly, it starts by trial and error. You will try and you will try. You can start by identifying what matters to you in this phase of life that you are. So for instance, you're in school, you're in secondary school, you want to finish your 6 years, and you want to pass in flying colors, as we say, your YX, if that is still the exam. You want to pass your YX and your JAM, you want to get placed into great schools in Nigeria and abroad. If that is the focus, then you're gonna then apply the 80-20 rule again. What are the 20 things that can help me move closer to that goal? Studying, being present in class, asking for help if I need it, submitting my assignments, turning in, discussing with my friends. Look for the 20 things that would help you hit, 20% of the things that will help you hit that outcome. So I cannot, what's the word? I cannot decide your inner compass for you. Your inner compass is your inner compass. It's dependent on you and the phase of life that you are. And I'm emphasizing school because I understand that all of you are in school. So that is a phase of life you are. The goal for you is to pass, is to finish your examination and get placed into good schools. So that would determine what you then prioritize. So going back to what I said at the beginning about time management goes with prioritization. You need to prioritize the things that will move you closer to the goal that you've set for yourself. So in deciding what your inner compass should be, you should start by asking, what am I working towards? What is that vision for myself for the next 2-3 years? Or it could be, I want to get into a simple example. I want to get admission, full scholarship to Stanford or to University of Lagos or to Covenant University. It could be any of these things. Then when you have that goal, then you can begin to work on what are the things I need to do? What are the things I need to prioritize to get me there? I don't know. Sorry. Sorry. Sympathy. Sorry, I'm just reading the question. If a student were to do just one thing this week to start mastering these 3 things, what should that first step be? Okay. All right. Before I dive into the question, because now this question is going to go off, take us left, right, and center. Let me just close out by finishing where I was on my closing. So we talked about briefly just now your inner compass. You need it so that you can lead yourself where there is no map. The second thing is to build your human bridge, because in life, currently in school, in university, when you're working and when you get old, you will always interact with people, you will work with them. And so building I would say the right capabilities in this area will help you be able to work with anyone and in any situation. And finally, as regards digital edge, developing a digital edge, remember that there are many tools around the world and these tools change. So it's about being flexible, learning the tools that are important to you, and being open to learn new ones when they come up. I personally believe that a lot of you are doing a lot of these things that I have mentioned, whether it is in your social life as with your friends, or whether it's when you're whether it's when you're online, or whether it's just in your school, in boarding school, or just in where you are. So I want you to not leave today thinking, oh, I need to start from zero. No, you're not starting from zero. You already have these skills in one shape or form. You already manage your time. You already ensure that your assignments are submitted on time. You already come present for classes, for extracurricular, for whatever it is. But the only difference is that you may have not been consciously and intentionally thinking about these things that you do as skills. But now I'm hoping that you can. I'm hoping that you now have it now comes top of mind for you. So today I haven't given you any new skills. I've just given you names for what you're already doing, what you're already building. And I'm hoping that I've also given you a bit of a direction to take. So in conclusion, the job that most of you will have when you are 30 actually doesn't exist. I hate to break it to you. It doesn't exist. And you and I can't predict the future. But you and I can be the kind of person that the future needs. And what is that person? I said it earlier, someone who can think for themselves, someone who can work with people, and someone who can use the tools that is available today to make an impact. I'm not going to ask you all to go away and master 10 different things. No, that's not it at all. That is not the aim of the session. That is not the aim of my monologue. I would say I'm going to ask you to pick one, just one thing. It could be, oh, I want to get better at managing my time. Or I want to get better at being able to manage conflicts when they arise. Or I want to get better at operating with emotional intelligence. Or I want to get better at utilizing tools, the latest tools to help my schoolwork and help me. Or I want to get better at anything. Pick one of them. You don't have to pick three even. Pick one of them and work on them on Monday and every other day. Okay? So, yeah, I think I will, with those few points of mine, I hope I've been able to convince you and not confuse you. So, yes, I am happy to take the rest of the questions now. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay, so
Okay. Yeah. Would you want me to read it out to you?
oh, no, that's
Or
fine.
you
No,
go
that's fine.
ahead
I
and
can read
read
it.
it?
Yeah, yeah. So, I'll start from the bottom and go back. So also asked about AI. How will someone learn about it when he or she can't to avoid loss of job? Can't, does not know. So when you say can't, so you mean does not know about AI. Um, okay,
Not
so
knowing is the kind.
doesn't know about. So I want to take it the way I interpret the question, and also correct me if I'm wrong, is when you say I can't, it means that I don't currently know anything about it. Yes, okay. So the good it's the good thing about that is that everybody's in this boat. And I'm not saying that to be patronizing. I'm not saying that to like calm you down. I'm saying that because that's the reality. Everybody that no, no. There are very few people that know AI very well. there are very few people in the world that know AI very well. The rest of us, you and me included, we are learning as we go. So I may not be able to tell you directly what to do, but let me tell you what I did, and hopefully you can take some pointers. So I personally, when AI dropped in 2022, I just finished my master's. And I remember saying to myself that why didn't it come out when I was doing my master's so that I could have, experimented a bit more. But so I was out of school when I started using AI, and initially I just used it to ask it questions. And in using it, I quickly realized that AI was like Google. And I got that understanding just from my own practice. And I learned that the quality of the response it gives you is dependent on the quality of the prompts that you put in it. And that was it. And then I started looking at, oh, how can I improve my prompting? And so I just started using it, testing it. So we always say this thing to children or even to adults. If at first you don't succeed, try again. It's not just a nice to see. It's the real deal. So I think I took ChatGPT and I signed up. I used the free version and I just kept trying it. I'll ask you to write an email, I'll ask you to write a letter, and I would review and review and review and review. So I just tested and practiced and practiced and practiced. Do I know it very well today? No, but I know a few things about it. I did there are some free courses online. I think Google does a course on understanding AI fundamentals. There's so many resources online. So you could even ask Google, you could check on Google and see if you want to know the foundation. But if you just want to use the tool, then just sign up and test the tool and see what can he do for me, what can he not do for me. Because it's only the things that you practice that you can understand and that you can improve on. So I would say pick one, practice it. If it's not working for you, I think there are at least 10 other AI tools aside ChatGPT. So there are other things to try. I hope that helps also.
Yeah.
Okay.
Uh, Michael, I'm sure that's clear. Thank you very much, Jean. I want to just chip in something before we
Sure.
proceed. At times, when you say I can't, it already kills
Okay.
that effort to try. Once you
Uh
just say I can't, but when you say I don't know, that means you want to know. But
true.
most times when you say I can't, that means you don't even want to make effort to try. So sometimes the kind of words we use has a way of shaping our decisions going forward. I would like to say,
Very
in
true.
all this you have mentioned, growth mindset is very important. You have
Mm,
mentioned a lot of skills, which has been grouped into the inner compass, the human bridge, the digital edge. But in all this, you have to put on that growth mindset skills. Once you know that you
absolutely.
want to grow, even if you are not getting it at this time, you are making efforts. You're putting in the
Yes.
little work. So everybody will not get it right at the same time, at the same pace. But
Yes.
that little effort you are making is one step away from where you were before, because you
100%.
already have that growth mindset. You know that I don't want to be the person I am today. I want to be better. But once you put in everything they ask you to do, you say, I can't. Once you say,
Mm,
I can't, that means you are not willing to grow. Yeah, Ada, please, okay, Ada's hand is up. So
yeah.
let's take off some words. There are some
Yes.
definitive words that should not be used. When you use I can't, it
Yes.
limits what you can do. But when you said I am not able to, meaning that you want to learn, but at that time you are not
Yeah.
able, you know. So that's one
One.
of the points I just
Yes.
wanted to emphasize on
Well
because we
said.
are talking to
Thank you.
students here. Over
Students.
to you, Ada.
Absolutely. I agree. Ada.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Jean. This is a really, I'm going to admit that when I had given you this topic, I was thinking you will come and say, learn design, learn this, learn that. But I love that you kind of zoomed out. And so you're giving like the students an opportunity to actually explore to find out what like is interesting to them and to build those skills, you know. So that's just one thing I wanted to say. Then the second thing I want to say is to Michael's question. Michael, the beautiful thing about about AI is that AI can help you to know what you don't know. So if you don't know how to start, or you know you don't know yet anything about it, open Chat GPT, open Claude, open Gemini, or even go on Google. Google has this feature now that when you type on Google, the first answer it gives you is an
If
AI
it's
generated
Gemini,
answer,
no, it's
right? So
yeah, it's
you
Gemini.
cannot even escape it.
You can't escape it.
So
Yeah.
go there, type I am XYZ student. So you say your age, your maybe you give your location. I'm located in Nigeria, and I'm in this class. I want to position
Mm,
myself for the future. Give me
true.
top 5 skills. Maybe you type your interest. I like football. I like this. I don't really like reading, but maybe I want to read more. You know, just give it a small summary of yourself
Yeah.
and say, what are 5 things you think I can learn to position myself for the next 5 years or the next 10 years? What are things you think I can learn during my 1 month holiday that
Mm-hmm.
will support me to build some, you know, just give it that type of prompt. You'll be surprised
Yes.
what it will
I will
come
tell
up
you.
with. And it can
100%.
come up with 5 things. Out of those 5, the first 2, you'll be like, maybe
You
not,
don't.
you
I don't
know?
want that.
I don't want
Yes.
that. But then there will
Yes.
be 1 or 2 that will stand out and it's even low hanging fruit for you. And then you can
Mm-hmm.
even keep asking questions when it gives you the answer. You say, oh, I don't really like number 1 and 2, but I like number 3
Mm-hmm.
and maybe number
Mm-hmm.
4. Is there a way to combine it so that, like, you talk to it as though you have a personal assistant slash a PA, right? And you get it to, like Jean said, you get it to sharpen some thinking. And sharpening thinking will be to already give it like, oh, I'm interested in this, but I'm not interested in that. You know, I find this to be a bit stressful, even so. I know, Michael, I know we've spoken, not we, but you've mentioned on the call before about, you know, doing better with your academics and maybe mathematics or something. I can't remember if it's specifically you, but you can even ask it those type of specific questions. You can say, having in mind that I'm trying to improve my academics and my grades, so I might not have a lot of time for these extracurriculars. What are things I can do that are easy and are in line with my academics? I don't know how. You can just type it
Yeah.
the way it comes to your head, and you'll
Yes.
see that it will almost start giving you things that even when you're studying, so for example, critical thinking, instead of it telling you to go and do one course or one thing outside, it would try to find what you can do that will show critical thinking even with the subjects you currently do,
Doing.
right? So
Yes.
that's just something to have in mind. When in doubt about AI, ask AI. You know, like
Very well said.
literally.
Very well
And then
said.
there was one really, really, really amazing thing you said, Jane, actually, when you were speaking. I quickly text Salome that we need to update our summer bootcamp program coming up.
Ah,
So I loved when
okay.
you spoke about storytelling and you kept
Yeah.
saying it's as old as time. We've been doing this.
Yes.
And our
We've been doing that.
bootcamp for in August is focused on storytelling. How can you sell?
Fantastic.
How can you make sure
Yes.
that you stand out? You know, you can have the smartest. I always tell the story in JuCE that the first time I schooled outside of Nigeria, I thought what mattered was waiting to shock everybody in the exam. You know, writing
Mm, mm,
everything
mm,
that
mm,
they
mm.
shocked me. That's all.
It
But
shocks you.
that
Ah,
they
yes.
shocked me. I didn't shock
I
them.
guess.
But the point is, I had to learn to speak up to, you know, what Jean was saying, to talk, to speak up, to handle in quotes conflict. And conflict in class was basically in history class, they will divide us into, we're talking about Second World War. They will divide us into Russia. You can even do it the way now.
Yeah.
There's Russia, there's Ukraine, there's this and that. Why do you support Russia? Do you agree with Trump? Do you, you know, these are the kind of things you can think. But that was what we're doing in class. And I would just be waiting to show off in the
To show.
exam. And I'll never speak up during the exams,
Yeah.
during the classes. And it really affected me when I wanted to apply for uni because my teachers would say, yeah, she's smart, but she has no class
No
participation. We don't,
competition.
you know, and that's an
Mm.
issue. And this thing
Yes.
carries on in life, you know, even when you're when you're in your place of employment. You have to be
Yes.
able to show that you know what you're doing. You cannot just be a keyboard warrior. So while you were
Mm.
speaking and you talked about data storytelling, I think that's something we're currently missing in our bootcamp, because we
Mm.
have storytelling as in content creation, as a
Oh,
in writing,
as
in
a right
branding and
environment.
communications, and in business. But that
Mm.
idea of telling stories with numbers is very important. And I think it's something we're missing. And I really like that you mentioned it. And I think that's something important. Before anybody would do something with you, you can tell a very emotional story. Let's say you're applying for a job
Mm.
now. You can tell a
Yeah.
very emotional story and people will be like, "Aw, aw."
Aw.
But what
Mm.
gets you in the door is being able to say XYZ% of XYZ, I can do
Mm.
XYZ.
Mm.
Even when you're applying for jobs, they say in your CV, you should be able to write 100% improvement in XYZ thing. That's data storytelling. And that's
Yes.
something that I don't know if in Nigeria we, at least at secondary school level, or even uni level, if I'm honest. I think many of these things you start learning it when you're applying for
Oh,
jobs in
yes,
and
for
out.
work. Yeah.
Yeah, but
Yes.
I
A
think
lot
it's
of
something
it.
we should already be teaching from a very young age. So we're going to be
I
including
agree.
that, Jane. So
I
thank you so
agree.
much for
Absolutely. And
sharing that with us.
just to buttress that, because of the way the world is going, there's so much data now being produced. So much like structured data and unstructured. Like every your footprint is like this data, and a computer somewhere is interpreting all of that. So businesses are now relying a lot more on trying to understand what that data is saying. So it's becoming more and more important in the world. So yes. Do we have time? Because I see two messages.
Okay,
Oh,
I
okay.
think
Oh,
they are just
thank you.
appreciating you. Yes,
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Thanks for
yeah.
listening.
So I'm just going to quickly share my screen just to show up our upcoming programs.
Okay.
Um, I want to thank everyone for staying up till this time. I know it is way past time. Thank you, Jean. It's another day to learn. Thank you for the insightful topic. Looking at the skills, even like I will always say, even we as adults, we are still trying to navigate through our career paths. We are still
Yeah.
learning. So some of these things reminds us that where you are slacking, you need to sit up. Like you said, we learn or learn. So every opportunity you have to learn one or two things, make use of it, make use of that opportunity, and just add to the knowledge that you have. Your knowledge can never be enough because you will go to
Never.
a room and find out you don't even know something. But
Mm.
programs like this is an opportunity to grab one or two and add to the already existing knowledge you have, or build on the knowledge you already have. Thank you very much, June. I can see your board, I'm seeing your sales, I'm seeing your, well, that is good. That is you showing us practical examples, being good at what
Thank
you
you.
do. Thank you very much, Jane. Thank you
Thank you.
for being with us here today. We are so appreciative of your time and the lessons and all we have learned from you today. Thank you, thank you. So I'm just
Mhm.
quickly going to share my screen. Just our upcoming event time is fast spent. Um, I'm just going to move to. We have a lot of events coming up, and please confirm that you can see my screen. But
Yes, I
this is
can.
going to be happening in May. Before then, we have another topic coming up. I would like you to just keep following us on our social media handles. Um, Follow us on our YouTube page. We have when our upcoming events are always posted on our Instagram handle, our IG. So always check up on us, like, comment, share, but this is one of the topic that is coming up. Excel 101, master the basics that matter. These days, Excel is one of the most powerful tools being used, even in schools. I'm sure even at secondary school level, to put data statistics together. You may not know or you may know. So it's good that now that you have the opportunity to learn some of the art, the tools, the skills that matter. I wouldn't want you to miss out on this. We have other programs coming up. Just keep following us. You will see it on our WhatsApp channel. We always post our upcoming programs there. Do well to join in. Ensure you invite a friend. Ensure you invite a parent if you have to or if you can. Tell your parents to join in because they are part of the people that will help in decision making. You can make your decision and it can be countered by your parents, but when they have the opportunity to hear these things, it also helps them in taking some of the decisions that they will make. So do well to join in every 2 weeks. It's the same link. Just tune in around the same time, 11 a.m. Do well to join in on time so that we can also learn something, even if it's not new. We have the opportunity to relearn, unlearn, and keep learning. So ensure that you join in every 2 weeks. Ada, you speaking? Ensure you join in every 2 weeks. Follow us on our social media handles, and we are hoping to always bring to you topics that will be of benefit to you in your career journey. Thank you for your time so far. Thank you for being here. Thank you for always showing up. And we know that with you out there, the world will be a better place. Thank you for your time. And do have a lovely week ahead.